Hey guys, this is Gary coming back to you here with part 2 of the shop update. And as I showed at the end of part 1, we had some drainage issues with the shop, and you can just see like the tremendous amount of water coming off of this building. And so I was the GC on this and probably should be fired as the GC, because these little details like this I did not plan for very well or manage the subcontractors very well in this aspect. But we got it all taken care of. Let me show you how we solved this. So you saw all the water coming off of the front here onto the porch area, and the gutters at that time were not installed yet because the metal shop guys, Jason and his crew, had not they weren't sure what I was going to do about wrapping these steel posts, and so they just left the gutters off and left kind of me to sort that out, which is cool. So I've now wrapped these posts in the same cedar fence pickets, and by the way, these have automotive clear coat on them, and we got 2 coats on them now. We're going to try to get probably 3 or 4 in total. And so same thing with the black, it's got automotive clear coat on it as well. So the goal is to never really have to mess with this stuff again. It'll keep its look and color and last 20, 30 years. That's my goal. We'll see how it works out. But you can see we got gutters attached now, and those are coming down into it's corrugated pipe that's also perforated, so it can get groundwater leached into it as well as take it out. And you can see I got a ditch right here, and so now we're dumping that water. You can see the out pipe, and it's rained a lot in the last few days. You see we still have a little standing water, so we got a portalet right there. We got guys now working on finally the Airbnb, and I'll probably show you that in another video. So that has solved that problem. We still have one issue, and this downspout right here is putting water out right there. And the way the slope is, the water is still wanting to run, but nothing like we had coming down. So I still have to figure out something there. Not exactly sure what yet, but we'll come up with a solution. And so far it's what we got is working good. So on this side, we had kind of a similar problem where, so we got the highway right there and water coming this way. We got the building right here, downspouts and water coming this way. And we got a low area in the concrete right here. So this whole area is low, and that's high, and this is high. So this water has nowhere to go. So we got drains in right here. This is a pretty easy fix, actually. It's got one issue with it. You can see where the collection point is, but right there is a drain. We got another one right here and another one down here. And those are running underground to this sump pump. And then we got an outlet right here. And so that's low, and that water runs off that way with no problem. But there's not a lot of slope in general. So this was the best solution that we came up with. But we're just pumping it out. The only problem, obviously, is if you get a big rainstorm, there's also the likelihood that you can lose power. And so I'm definitely going to add a generator here at some point. So you saw the guy up in the tree getting that limb down. It was a huge liability, and it had cracked and broken and rotted. And this whole tree is not going to be with us too much longer. This is some kind of scrub tree right here, and these two have kind of grown together to an extent. And you can see this is hollow in the base right there. And this one is the same way. They're, they're both liabilities in a big way, but I think I've mitigated it for the most part. We got all the big limbs off that side and the thing's kind of leaning mostly this way. You can see I've lost a bunch of limbs, where the thing is just very unhealthy. It's not going to live, too much longer, but I'm going to hopefully take a gamble on it and see if we can get a few years. You can see it's just rotten down here at the base of it. It's got termites in the base of it, and yeah, so not good. So yeah, here it is. The most troublesome employee I've got is this big red Taylor forklift with a Detroit diesel 2-stroke. Just every time we go to crank it and use it, it's got another problem. And so this time I just replaced the oil line on it that had rubbed and rubbed a hole in it and was blowing oil all over the place. Matt's done quite a few things to it, and then as soon as you get that going, now we got the air bleeder on the brake system here just acting weird and needs to be replaced. So actually nothing major. It actually runs and works quite well, but it's little stuff, wiring and just a lot of brittle hoses and wiring and stuff. And then, so I don't know if you guys have seen this one or not, but this is the little 51.5 window shop truck. It's on airbags, and it's got a little 350 Chevy in it that's in kind of not really running that great, and the airbag system is pretty dated and it's not that reliable. So we got a LS1 that we worked a deal in trade with Adam Lunn on a press brake, and so we're gonna drop a LS in there and see what we can do with that. Let's see how the cold start on this old girl is. Well, it wasn't really that cold. This was about 3 weeks ago, and it was probably about 70 degrees out that morning. And we had the big break coming in, not too far in front of when this was made, and we'd not really used this forklift to do much of anything other than just move it around and raise the mast up and down. So we had one of my customers, Spencer, wanted a 3 kilowatt laser, and it's just going to be a while before I could get up there to install it. And I kind of worked out a deal where we would pre-install it in the shop in Texas, ship it to him, let him install it on his own, and then we'll just support him with that, and possibly get up there and visit him in the future. So this was a good little exercise to at least just use the forklift to lift this machine. That Taylor is a 52,000 rated forklift, so 52,000 at 48-inch load center. And this laser right here that we're unloading is only 5,500 pounds. So it was nothing to get this unloaded and moved around. But we've continued to just have little problems with it, wiring, hoses, and you'll see in the next clips here where we do need it for sure. What did she do? She laid down on us again with a busted hydraulic hose with a truck on the way for us to unload. So really put us in a jam. And but thankfully Matt is a diesel mechanic, and so obviously he's not a miracle worker, but little stuff we can jump on and get knocked out pretty quick. So anyway, this is a 5x10 G-force machine, a 1G machine, 3 kilowatt, like I said, and we're getting it up to Spencer. And so we were just getting it unstacked and setting it out closer to where we could get it down on the ground and work on it and get the power source installed and get it all wired up and do some testing with it, make sure everything's good before we put it on a truck up to Spencer. So fast forward 3 weeks later, and it's now 40 degrees, and the old girl's, kind of grumpy on the cold start there. But once you got going, it ran great, and really could not have been more pleased with the performance on unloading this machine. This press brake weighs 26,000 pounds, and so the first issue is the forks all the way at the mast at their thickest are 6 inches thick. Okay, so your typical dunnage is 4 inches thick, somewhere in that range, So the first thing we had to do here, you see Matt coming in there, hot with the 8-foot forks, going to stab underneath it, and we're going to lift the front of it up, and just, he's side shifting or fork positioning the forks, widening them out. You can see it sliding over there. And by the way, when I bought this forklift from a dealer, used forklift dealer, I had them add that on, because it didn't come with side shift or fork positioners, but it had an auxiliary lever set up that was capped off, so we were able to add the cylinders and the hardware to get the fork positioners on there. Because, a big, heavy, bulky forklift like this, trying to get it stabbed perfectly is almost impossible, so you need the side shift for a little bit of fine control. So you see he's coming in there. We're going to raise up the front of it and get another block under the front. The back lift, it's got a support bar that's raised up, so there's some space there. We didn't really need to chalk up the back, but the front, we definitely needed to get it raised up here.
That's good.
Yeah, so you heard it idling down, almost killed it there trying to get this lifted up for the first time. And you see Matt here feathering the throttle, and a little bit of throttle, a little bit of up action on the main lift cylinder, and she came on up there no problem. So the Lindy has, automatic idle up. As soon as you start using any of the hydraulic controls, it automatically idles up, which is a really great feature. But this is an old school machine here. So it was pretty cool that morning. So we had the truck backed all the way in, and he was kind of blocking our aisleway to get over to where I wanted to put this brake. So we just had him pull forward temporarily. and we get this over in position, and then have them back in and get the other machines off of the truck there. So these shears, you can see the 4x4 in the back there between the forks and the bottom of the shear, because they didn't have that same support brace that all the brakes always have. So I need to work on getting that redesigned and get a 4x4 tube welded in back there so we can lift these. Until I get an overhead crane, these are meant to be picked from the top, but a little on the sketchy side. I had two 4x4s and they were flexing and bowing pretty big right there in the middle, but we got it done. All right, so you saw the footage of unloading the 10-foot brake, and this has been my goal. You know, I think I've sold about 6 or 8 of these. Every time I order some to have an inventory, they just sell before they get here, and I just hot shot them straight out. They never even make it here to my shop. Just go straight out to the customer when they arrive down in Houston. But it's a monster machine, you know, like I said, 26,000 pounds. 10 foot, 220 ton, easily bend 1/4 inch at full width. You can bend half inch, I believe, right around with a 4-inch die opening. You can bend ½ inch at about 6 feet on it. So, and I'm overlaying some footage here of some other ones, you know, that I've installed for Adam and for the guys up at Casco. But one of the things that I've continued to try to get these guys to do that are building these for me is really do these covers in a way where they don't get damaged. Obviously, having the covers on the machine, they really are in jeopardy of getting damaged. And you can see over there, those are 5-footers right there. And there's a couple 8-footers right here. Here's 2 8-footers right here beside me. So those don't have the covers on them. Some of those over there do. We're just trying to find the right recipe, but having the covers off and packaged in a way where they're behind them is really going to help with that. But even with that, it's just, no matter what you do, you end up with some kind of damage like this one. The driver showed up down here with a tarp that was not secured on the back of it, so it was just flapping in the wind, and you can see how it kind of removes some of the paint right there. And we got, you know, that. Only 2 hours from the Houston port up to where I am, but that's enough, you know, tarp flapping in the wind to give it some road rash. And that kind of stuff, I just tell customers, hey, you're going to see small blemishes and some scrapes and scratches, and sometimes a little bit more than others. But obviously, if we have something caved in, crushed in, I'm going to replace it and we're going to make it right. So Bend Force Brakes, that's my own brand name. You can see the prices for all this stuff out there. I do have some new options coming that I don't show on there. So there's a 13-foot 220 ton. Is just like this one, but 13 foot. I've already sold a couple of them. I got 2 that have just shipped out, so I'll be getting video on installing those. And they're $99,000. Of course, I got the 3D brakes. I got more of those on the way. So lots and lots of things happening. And then the person that prompted me to make these shop updates is Ross up in Arkansas. And here's Ross's machine. And it's a 3 kilowatt open machine. It's been here for 3-4 months maybe. You can just see how we get dust on stuff just with it sitting a short period of time living out in the country. And then this machine, I talked about it. It's Zachary's. All the footage that you saw of cutting the stuff for the fence, we did on that. I think we cut a total of like 3 or 4 sheets and got it dialed in good. And so he'll be here Monday to start his training and then take his machine with him. So that's it, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these updates, and we will see you on the next install video coming up soon.